Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Doujinshi, and welcome back to another episode of Hentai Reviews, the only series where we are diving right back into an anime. Yeah, we're not going back into a hentai, at least not yet. But this is a special case, though. For the specific reason that we're going back into this sorts of thing is because this is very much a redo of a healer situation, where it's technically not on that level, but it was posted on the place where I get these reviews from. So, where am I going with this? This just edges that line right there, and it just gets above it to where I can make a review about it. And there's more than one episode posted on there, so it wasn't a fluke, and they have an actual title screen for it. So, I'm gonna keep doing this, even though I have already kind of done a review, but I'm not super proud of that, so I'm going to go ahead and do it again. Give it a bit of more of an in-depth look. So, today we're going to be looking at episode 1 of Ishizoku Reviewers, otherwise known as the Interspecies Reviewers. A review about reviewers. This is like that one dude who couldn't think of content, so he just reviewed his own and he reacted to his new intro. Maybe I should think about what I'm doing. But nonetheless, this entire series is done by our friends over at Hashione, or at least that's what it's done, essentially the company that owns it, running at about 25 minutes and 37 seconds long, with a total of 10 categories, notable of which are a little hard to get through, because Monster Girl is 100% in this. Tentacles are kind of with the territory when it comes to Monster Girls. And really, as the series goes on, you notice that there's a lot more variety than you'd think. If you don't know the series, then yeah, you're not going to think there's a lot of variety. But if you know what this is, it's a fuck ton of it. So, what is the series about? The series is about the two men who are considered the main protagonists of the Interspecies Reviewers. But let's go ahead and get into what actually happens in the episode itself. You see, episode 1 starts off with the introduction to the world, where it's very much clearly stated that sex work is a very free and open thing. Not free, you still have to pay for it. Nonetheless, they end up making it legalized where it's available everywhere. Brothels are plentiful. There's essentially a night part of the city everywhere where people can go, get their thing ruptured, and then they can continue forward with their days. But due to the fact that it's a fantasy world, there is variety aplenty, and it is bountiful. So, this whole thing starts out with the introduction of the whole thing, and then it shows off the main characters. He shows up later. It shows off Zell and Stunk. Stunk is the human of the entire thing, the guy with like the unshaven little beard, the ponytail, and overall looks a lot older than you would expect a main character in an anime to look, and the other one is Zell, essentially short little blonde elf. Exactly how you'd think. Stunk himself is walking straight out of a brothel that particularly houses elf girls. And after walking away from a particularly attractive one, he says goodbye, and then he ends up running into Zell. He says, "Dude, did you just sleep with that girl? Girl, she's like 500-600 years old." He's like, "I don't care, she was super hot." And there's a little bit of a discourse going back and forth between like, "Dude, she's like 600 years old, that's older than my mom." Elves live a long time. Pretty much in all media, they live for fucking ever, so you have no idea what's going on with them. But as the discourse goes by, eventually, another girl walks by both of them. A client, if you will, of Zell, who is a 50, 60-year-old human woman who looks the part. And she is making her way through Night City. Good for her. She's still on that grind. And she ends up going the discourse between them where they're like, "I'll see you later." And then there's the argument of like, well, how can you like her and not her? There's a kind of like, which one is better? So, next day goes around, they end up meeting at this bar, and then they ask their friends, "Hey, which one is better? 600-year-old elf? 50 to 60-year-old female?" At some point, the fucking intro plays, and it is unnecessarily good. I like the intro. I'm not gonna try to sugarcoat it. I just like the intro. It's bubbly, it's happy, it has like a beat to it that goes up, and if you listen or if you watch the subtitles on it, Bust a Nut is literally in the thing, and it plays all the time, and it's repeated throughout each one. I listen to the intro every single time. I don't do that for a lot of anime, but I did it for this one. So, after that, they end up getting the scores back from all their friends over which one is better, the elf of significant age or the female of medium age. And to the human perspective's surprise, the elf wins, which is a little weird. Elf as in Zell. Zell's perspective won, the 50-year-old woman was the winner. That was a little confusing on my part. But after that, there's kind of this, I didn't see it that way. Maybe I should look at this more of a perspective that I'm not really getting correctly. So, maybe these reviews are helpful in a way. So they end up going off on their little adventures like they do normally. They are adventurers, per se. So they end up going through the woods, and they hear a scream for help. They finally go up, there's a large monster, and there's an injured person down to the side. They instantly kill the monster because they're badasses, and they have so much fighting prowess, but they show it once or twice in this entire series. So alright, I'll see your dick 30 times, but I can't see you swing a sword that's literally on your belt the whole time, whatever. But after immediately defeating the monster, they go to see if somebody's okay. They end up finding out the person. His name is 𝓗𝓮𝓷𝓽𝓪𝓲. Feminine dude. It's a toss-up, very easily understandable that you couldn't figure it out. Plus the name 𝓗 doesn't really help on the gender way. But they ask hey, can I help you up, man? He's like, yes, I am a man. Man, cool, thanks. Are you sure you're a dude? Because you look like a girl to me. And they're like, no, I have a dick. And he pulls up the skirt to see the outline of a dick. And they're like, oh, okay, we didn't... Alright, cool. Hey, do you need any help coming around this place? Because it looks like your halo's a little broken. They're like, yeah, halo's messed up. I need it to heal so I can go back to heaven. They're like, you want to go back to heaven? Can we come with you if you can stay with us and we can help you out? They're like, sure. Why do you want to go to heaven? We want heaven brothels. He's like, what the fuck did you just say to me? In my house? That's how they met their new friend. They're like, hey, if you stick around with us and eventually heal and get better, can we go to heaven with you to find some heaven hookers? And they're like, okay, I guess that's where we're going with this. And then they get to stay together. Little passing detail, 𝓗𝓮 is floating by, and in their head, they just say, hey, man, I'm glad I have both genitals, and just showed off the dude one, because these guys are whoremongers. I don't want to show off anything that I have. A little bit of a weird sentence there, but it ended up was yeah, that makes sense. Let's keep it going. And then as they're walking away, they're like, so you're new to Earth. We can treat you. We'll take you to a nice spot. And they're like, alright. And they go to a cat girl brothel. And nothing wrong with that. Nothing really wrong with cat girls. That's day one in anime, get yourself a cat girl. Day about 30 in anime, it's when you get yourself a dragon girl. Everything past that is your own fetish. There's those two things. Everything past that is your own thing. Hey, but it's understandable. Cat girl, safe day one thing. So, it then cuts back to the bar where they post their reviews on the bulletin board where everybody else posts all these different things. And after doing so, they essentially say, hey, this is where we're going to put our reviews for all the different workers we've experienced. And the barmaid, Maidori, is not exactly thrilled, but they bring in a lot of customers, so she lets it do it. She's kind of like that friend tsundere, where they're not real. There's no relationship that you're planning on building up, but like you can still make jokes with them. But if you like step out of bounds a little bit, they're gonna fucking clock you. And that's kind of their relationship with Matori. And they attract a whole bunch of people. They're like, we want to see what the Cat Girl review is like. And they get their whole little jokes in and out. There's one recurring character that shows up a lot that's supposed that they make the joke like, hey, man, that's good information they've taught me. And everybody looks at him and is like, aren't you a fucking virgin? He's like, I'm saving it. And it happens a lot in the show, and it's amazing because the build-up is awesome. But after that, Matori's like, you know what? Fine, they can post their reviews here. I'm not going to worry about it. Then they burst through the door, and they're like, we've got another one! We've just got done reviewing even more stuff. And they post the review up there, and it's of Bird Girls. Which is ironic, because she is a bird girl, and she's a little offended, but also a little weirded out. That now they know how to, like, make her, shiver. Little thing at the back of the neck. You just touch that, it does the little bird tweeting thing, and it's adorable. But she gets pissed off, and they start getting into a fight immediately, where the camera starts to pan out of the area. And after getting pulled out of the area, it says, and that's when we started the Interspecies Reviewers. They said the title, let's cut home and go home, everybody. It's done. The whole show's over. And that was the first episode. Where there's an actually good ending. An ending song. This has good music in it, but I think that's a personal thing on my part. So, let's go ahead and get into the review so we can hurry this up, because I guarantee this is a long one. First episode of Interspecies Reviewers is good. Just overall, it's good. The animation is literally an anime, and it's well done. It is a 9 out of 10 when it comes to animation on the hentai standards. Solid 6 or 7 on the actual anime standards. And I can't really say anything past that. There's just... you can definitely tell it's studio level work. Like, it's not just a place you outsource to get this shit done. Queen Bee! And... the story and characters, I'd like to say, are engaging because it is legitimately funny. Like, a lot of the characters make jokes, and they have, like, more than that Japanese dry humor. Like, there is actual, like, funny jokes that go along with this whole thing that I really enjoy. Plus, the characters are all likable in their own little stupid ways, and there's really nothing to complain about there either. It's a 9 out of 10 in 2 in a row. I will say, though, the plot suffers a little because there is none. It is just implied sexuality the entire time, and it is just... you can definitely tell it's building up to later episodes when they actually start getting more graphic, but you can definitely tell it's subdued. But just for the fact that there's variety in this whole thing is just really appealing. So I'd give it an 8 out of 10 just for the amount of, like, pinups that you could have, like, screenshotted and then put out. So yeah, overall, I'd give that a solid 9 out of 10 for the entire thing. Overall, I can really only say that this is a solid first episode. Like, there's just something about this that just immediately screams that you feel like you need to watch more. Not to say that there's anything, like, inherently amazing about it. There's just something about the world building that immediately is like, alright, you've set yourself up for a ton of adventures with literally infinite possibilities. If you can think of it in a Monster Girl combination, then there's so much that you can do with it. And I really just want to see more, because you guys are legitimately funny. Like, I've laughed my ass off at some of the jokes, and I'm rewatching it, so the jokes still land the second time around. And I feel like, as long as it continues forward, then I can only just expect more from it. Plus, I want to see more Monster Girls. That's really what I'm here for. Same reason I love Monster Musume, where it's legitimately funny and I enjoy everything that's going on with it. And I want to see more Monster Girls. That's the biggest thing. I laughed my ass off, and I want to see their asses off. So two hands. You got jokes in one hand and tits in the other, and honestly, feels pretty nice. That's what I'm here for. All I can say is I'd recommend the first episode so far. I have seen the entire show all the way through, but going through it again with a more critical eye rather than just the experience going through it, it's damn worth it. And I can only say good things about it. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for here. Thank y'all for being like so patient with my upload schedule. I know it went from like one every day to one every 2 days to one maybe every 3 days to now once a week. I'm trying to get back on that. I beat myself up over stupid things, and I'm trying not to do that because I'm trying to just like move forward, get the shit done. But you know what can you do other than just push yourself? So let's get back on that grind. Get back on that grind. Get back on that yank. All right. I have been the doctor. Thank everybody for being here, and remember, have a nice day. Don't be a dick. There's too many of them, and wash your fucking hands. I've been the doctor. Peace.